ValveTime.net.
Welcome to a Valve Time Spotlight look at the Half-Life Alpha from 1997. We'll be taking a look at what was cut from the final game and what survived to the final release of Half-Life in 1998. Only last week did we see Geoff Keighley produce a picture of a Half-Life Alpha disc from 1997. This week has seen the content from another copy materialize on the web, version 0.52. So what does it contain? Firstly, we should begin by saying this version of Half-Life 1 was before the so-called Big Change instigated in late 1997, whereby Gabe decided the game needed a major rework. Ken Birdwell is quoted as saying, "The net result is that we threw out just about everything. All the AI was gone and we gutted the levels." Generally, the thread of the Half-Life we know can be found running through the alpha. For example, the objective in the alpha is for a scientist to escape the facility by trying to reach the surface, with many maps along the way having been recycled into Half-Life 1. Kicking off the chapters is the Portal device, later to be known as Unforeseen Consequences. Not quite the Resonance Cascade, but Half-Life was to start slightly differently according to the Half-Life synopsis file included in the alpha. The Portal device is a dimension-spanning gate of unpredictable power. So far, no one has ventured through the portal, but there has been a steady flow of odd creatures coming to our world. You are a weapons research scientist who has never touched a weapon, until now. An accident in the Threshold's power core fractures the local fabric of space-time, and hordes of creatures begin spewing into our world through the fissures. An included walkthrough guide states the disaster effects for the Portal device had yet to be added to this version of the game at this time. Next is the Office Warrens, or Office Complex from Half-Life 1. This chapter should look quite familiar to you. It hasn't changed a great deal, really. The maps here are larger, with more floors, puzzles, vent crawling, and action sequences. Following that is the Security Complex, or We've Got Hostiles, which is definitely a better name. It is certainly a chapter which improved drastically in Half-Life 1. The alpha version is full of puzzles and platforming sections, which is an even more frustrating example than Xen in Half-Life. The Alien Research Lab is next, another somewhat droll name. Questionable Ethics is what it became known as later. The map is essentially a Skynet facility lab built by the invading aliens. The objective in Half-Life, to get two scientists to the lobby area to open a door, surprisingly exists in the original alpha as well. Communication Center is probably the best piece of work in the alpha, with an engaging story and backtracking through the map just like parts of the finished article. This later became Lambda Complex and Uplink. Reactor Lab, the final map, is just like Lambda Complex, with the same layout and objectives, including the flooding of the reactor core. Now let's take a look at the enemies. Firstly, what's missing? Zombies aren't included at all, although headcrabs are. No barnacles, assassins, gargantuans, gonarchs, or alien slaves, to name a few others. In the demo files exist a grunt assault enemy, essentially a grunt with a minigun. Intended as a mini-boss, they were to appear throughout the game with the ability to call for backup. Another cut enemy from Half-Life was the Panther Eye, a larger and more dangerous alien than the Hound Eye, which didn't make it far in development as it has no AI in the alpha and was cut soon after. Modding has always been important for Valve, and it began here. Worldcraft was a shareware map editor for the Quake engine before Valve purchased a license for the engine. The Alpha Disk provides a full working version of Worldcraft that you can use to make maps for the Half-Life Alpha. We hypothesize that the edited toolset included was originally built for the precursor game to Half-Life 1, Prospero. The version included is pretty awful. Valve's Jan Bernier certainly paved the way for the future in the development of the BSP format for maps and Hammer. Finally, the alpha does also include multiplayer. Half-Life Deathmatch in its simplest form comes with a crowbar, Glock, and MP5. The map you can see is an early version of Stockyard, what came to be one of the most remembered and played maps in Half-Life Deathmatch. You can find links in the description to download the alpha yourself. It's amazing after all these years we're able to go back to the roots of Valve's journey with Half-Life and see how it began. Stay tuned in the near future as we go back even farther and take a look at Prospero, the game which became Half-Life. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.